The 3, 2, 1, that means we start. Greetings and salutations. My name is David Barry at DR Barry on varying social media platforms. To my left, we have...
Oh my gosh, I'm back on camera. This is Curtis at Calm Down Warning at Existential Romeo, right? Did I get that right?
You are there.
Been a while.
You're there. You're a little rusty, but you're good.
All right.
We are representing the Capeless Crusaders. As you can see, there's only 2 of us. And tonight, or today, depending on when you're watching this or listening to it, we are talking about none other than Danny Rand Iron Fist, the most recent Netflix TV show thing, conundrum flurb.
Deal.
Dealio.
It's a deal.
Basically, for those of you who've been living under a rock, Iron Fist, or Iran, Iron Fist is the latest Netflix TV show rounding out the Defenders, which is going to be the group show that Marvel is putting together on Netflix, combining Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. So, Curtis, you watched the whole series.
I did.
I watched about 85% of the series.
You did.
It's rough to knock that out in a weekend. It is not as easy as I thought it was going to be to dedicate 12, 13 hours to this.
No.
But initial thoughts, as far as soon as you started it, right out the gate, what were you feeling?
Why? I wanted this to be so good out the gate. I wanted to see someone get kicked in the jaw, like in the first 10 seconds. I wanted explosions. I asked for too much, and it kind of reminded me that sometimes we need to temper our expectations. Now, it didn't start off the way I wanted it to, but it did turn into a little bit more of what I was looking for it to be. So I was like, oh man, this is going to be not only the worst one, but not even a good one. And I'm glad to say it didn't end up like that. That's for sure. What about you, David Barry? What were your first impressions?
I'm with you. The problem is the first 6 episodes got released to the reviewing public, well, not even public, the reviewing community, if you will, and they slammed it. They slaughtered it in the way that we thought Iron Fist was going to slaughter some ninjas.
Yes.
Terrible ratings all across the board, and so it was hard to avoid that. So I immediately was already like, dang it.
Yeah.
They how did they botch this? And I hadn't even watched it, which is something I hate. I hate when I let someone else's opinion, even if it's someone I trust, influence me that much.
Definitely.
So I went into it thinking, this isn't going to be as good as I want it to be.
Right.
And the problem it wasn't. It was slow. It took a while for me to get interested in it.
Definitely.
The only reason I think I was holding on is because I've watched at this point 1, 2, 3, 4 other seasons of Marvel shows.
You were invested.
I'm invested. I'm like, I can't just stop now. I gotta get this on there.
That's right.
And Iron Fist is a character that I love. Like,
definitely.
Especially in the last 10, 15 years, the way the comics have gone, it's been great.
Absolutely.
So I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good. And so I think those expectations are really what set me up to fail, because if I'd just gone into it thinking, okay, cool, it's Iron Fist,
Right.
I might have been not as disappointed.
True.
Like I said, it has steadily grown on me. I'm not done. I still got a couple episodes left,
Right.
but so far it has grown on me like a slow fungus. One that I enjoy. I don't like Swamp Thing.
Okay, all right.
The green. Yeah, just might want to get it checked out. May want to go to a doctor. I'm not sure.
I
yet.
was going to say I have some antifungal cream in the car.
Sweet.
We could have taken care of that right there.
I'm not sure if I want to. Maybe I want it to grow on me.
You probably do, because as the season progressed, and I did make it to the very end of it, I would say around episode 7 is where things started to pick up. It seemed like a fairly shallow show at first.
Yeah.
Him being, kind of the happy-go-lucky guy that we knew. If you know any of the history or the backstory, him coming from Kunlun, and his parents' plane or crashing, and him being picked up by the monks of Kunlun, and then him training and eventually defeating the dragon, the dragon's name escapes me right now. Bam. Yeah, Shang Tsung, and eventually him becoming the Iron Fist. So for him to return back, and then he doesn't really seem like he has too much of a reason at all to be as happy-go-lucky as he does when he first get into it, and then even that threw me off. But as things progress and it goes from being a shallow show to kind of starts to delve deeper into some of the layers, some of the story of what happened with his family's company while he was gone. started to kind of come out, and that was good. Now, at the same time, I'm getting ready. Can I do this? I know you're leading, but can I talk about some of the stuff I didn't like about it?
There's things you didn't like? Oh, wait, no, we already established that.
Yeah. Anyway,
you can
some
go
of
for
this cool. So some of the stuff I didn't like, this show seemed to suffer from something that I believe, even though as much as I love Daredevil and I loved Luke Cage and I really liked the first half of Jessica Jones, but it suffered from something that all of these shows do, and it's just too much to try to stretch out into 13 or more episodes. Make it 8. Most of the stuff that happened between him and the Meacham family that had taken over the Rand company while they were gone could have just been cut out. If they would have kept it to just the Iron Fist and the Hand, that would have been all that I needed, and I would have been more than happy. It also would have led to more action scenes because some of the action scenes were really good when he was really tested, like when he was fighting multiple people, or when he was fighting, like a formidable adversary, or when he was going through the test that Madame Gao, the challenge that Madame Gao had issued to him when he first had to retrieve that girl that had gotten kidnapped. Like those fights were good. Those action scenes were really good. But then you have Gangster A that he fights in the back of a truck to get to the heroin chemist, and like
he has a rough time.
Like you could have put that guy away in like one nerve lock.
You're the greatest martial artist in the universe.
Yeah.
And this guy gives you a run for your money.
Come on.
I mean, to be fair, he's not used to fighting in trucks because they don't have trucks in Kunlun. There's your excuse.
David Barry. He defeated Shang Tsung, the dragon.
That's true. That's true. In the Mortal Kombat tournament.
Yes.
Wait, no. The Immortal. Anyway.
The Immortal
The Immortal Weapon Fist
Fine
combat
thing.
Though to your point there, I agree. I thought if you had hacked it down a little bit,
right?
If you had given us what I was hoping, we talked about the hallway scenes in all the shows that we've gotten so far.
Oh yes,
we've gotten these amazing, intense, well shot, just sometimes super bloody, just awesome hallway scenes.
And he got more hallway scenes. Like he had like 5 or 6 hallway scenes.
And they were, I picture the comics that I read, and that's always comparing to comics is always rough because they can do so much more. But I picture just the rooftop with Iron Fist facing off against 20 ninjas of the Hand, or ninja depending on who you are, and facing off with those guys and just going at it. And he's getting hit here and there, and he's getting nicks and cuts because he's fighting 20 ninja.
Absolutely,
as opposed to one guy who kind of cracks his ribs. It's like,
come on.
Are you the greatest martial artist? Like, we don't need you to be humanized in that regard.
Definitely not.
The family struggle, the loss of your parents, the wanting to know what happened, there's your struggle. There's your emotion. Definitely. We don't need to see weakness in you physically when you're supposed to be the world's greatest martial artist.
Yeah. I mean, it made me question a lot of it. Like, seriously, I found myself at times going like, nah, I don't believe that.
Nah.
Come on. Really? A few times. But so if they could have just cut it down, which hopefully that's what they're doing with the Defenders. I believe they said the Defenders are going to be only 8 episodes long.
Just a bunch of face punching for 8 episodes.
I just want to see guys get punched in the face and a little bit of story and make a good story, but lots of punching in the face.
Lots of punching. Well, and another, as we're talking about things we're not the biggest fan of.
We are talking about that.
Going into it, I know Iron Fist, especially when it was cast, there was already criticism. There was already people saying, this character, because let's face it, the Iron Fist came out of the 60s and 70s, our country's obsession with martial arts. That's where he came from.
Absolutely.
So he in and of himself is a stereotype. The white guy that goes to the Far East and comes back, the karate, kung fu, made up martial arts master.
Johnny.
Exactly.
He could have swept the leg.
Yeah, where's Billy when you need him?
Just saying.
But so in that regard, they were already having an uphill battle that they could have handled, and they just, to me, they kind of dropped the ball on some of the criticism. Right. The people who said, he's just the white savior. Yeah, he kind of was in a lot of ways. He walks into the dojo and he's just like, oh, by the way, I'm going to teach you how to do martial arts because you suck at them, daughter of the dragon. In the comics, like when he has the dojo, he has it because he's doing what she's doing. He wants to help underprivileged kids. Like he wants to teach them how to defend themselves, but also lessons about honor and culture and all this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
And we didn't really get that. We kind of got the the Iron Man kind of, I'm cocky, I'm here, things
Right.
are great. By the way, I'm a billionaire.
Which kind of came out of nowhere because he was like super duper humble when he first showed up.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden
like,
he's like,
I guess I'm a billionaire now.
I guess I drive an Aston Martin now. I feel like they could have expanded a little bit more
Right.
on his sensitivity almost to the fact that he was. I mean, and obviously he spent 15 years initially just right out the gate just being beaten by monks, which they do. That's all the children, so it's not like it was just him.
Right.
But there was a lacking in cultural sensitivity that they've done a lot of work in the comics recently to correct.
Right.
And I feel like the show didn't really do that. Now they started to for like a split second in like episode 5.
Right.
Maybe it was episode 3 where she actually it's episode 3 where she the sensei, the daughter of the dragon, where she puts him in his place.
Right.
Basically he like hits one of the kids and she pulls him back and says, "No, you don't get to do that.
Right.
This is a place where they come to feel safe, to learn, because they have terrible like home lives. You don't get to just come in here and change the rules and swat these kids because you think you know how martial arts are meant to be taught."
Because your fist turns a little orange, a little
Yeah,
yellow.
because it kind of glows and
a little bit.
And your parents died like every other superhero.
Right.
Anyway, that was sorry.
Definitely.
But they kind of, so when she puts him in his place a little bit correction,
Right.
but not enough, and then just kind of of course turning them into a romance was kind of like I like them together, but I
Right.
don't like the way they got to them together. It was kind of clunky.
Yeah, it was a little contrived, or
Now-
a lot of contrived.
Something I liked
Yeah.
was Faramir.
Faramir.
So for those of you, Faramir is the son of Boromir in The Lord of the Rings, and the actor who played Faramir is the Meacham's father,
Right.
who is dead but not dead because he's a servant of the hand.
Also the narrator in 300.
Yeah, because he was one of the soldiers.
He had abs.
He's got many purposes, so that was basically one of those moments where I was like, yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I guess that's a positive.
Yeah, kind of like same. When I saw him appear, I was happy to see him because solid actor. He definitely brought a lot of what's that thing that people bring?
Gumption?
Yeah. Gumption or credibility.
That's a better one.
Yeah, there we go. So he brought a lot of that, which was really, really good.
And he was very sinister.
He was
in
very
a good
sinister.
way.
He
In a
was.
good way.
Now, another thing, and this is probably the last thing I'll talk about that I don't like, because I want to get into the stuff that I really did like, because there is that. Believe it or not.
Are there any? Oh,
it kind of ties into the whole a little bit too much of the Meacham thing. He was dead and then really bad, and then like his son was really bad too, and then he was worse, and then his son kills him again, so he dies again, and then we find out that like the hand did something to where he could come back if he was dead. So he came back, and then he was good, and he liked Danny, and then no, so he wants to kill Danny. It was just like that's what you got to do when you make like a season of a show too long. You got to take people back and forth and back and forth, and it just like I was a little dizzy after dealing with all of the Meacham family's ups and downs. So and then even that, like they kind of had a issue of who's the big bad anyway.
right.
Is the big bad Madame Gao? Right. Is the big bad the dude Makoto who was calling wings Sensei, who he showed up, and we find out that she's part of the hand. But she doesn't really want to be the hand. She loves Danny, but she's the hand and he's the fist. And that, I don't know. I was just like, yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
stereotypes.
Mind blowing.
Well, let's talk about. We got a couple things we liked.
Oh yeah, I
got a couple
liked,
things I liked. Well, I liked the Easter eggs, the connections, the little things here and there. So, for example, again, I can't remember if it was episode 6 or episode 7, where he gets the office. He gets his father's office. He even find his father's desk.
Right.
The first thing he wants to do is he wants to crawl underneath it and find all those stickers that he put under there.
Right.
And the best part about those stickers is that if you look very closely at them, they're especially relevant to comics right now because Marvel's current event, Monsters Unleashed, which is where all these monsters are attacking Earth and a bunch of monsters are defending it, is a bunch of classic Marvel monsters.
Okay.
Like Orgo and like these like super old school like classic Marvel monsters are all the stickers that he has along the bottom.
I didn't even catch
Which is,
that
I think
Easter egg.
that's a cool little reference. You know, like that's just a lot of fun the way they did that.
Absolutely.
And of course the other connections Easter eggs here and there where they mention that his YouTube video now has more views than the Hulk.
Right. Yeah.
And they
Another
talk
little
about the
Easter egg
event
there.
and how everyone, since the event, everyone thinks they have superpowers when they think he's crazy.
Right.
And then I actually really liked when one of the scenes I really liked with the Meachums where they've been ousted from Rand and then are trying to get back in.
Right.
And the way they decide to do it is basically through blackmail.
Right.
And that
yeah.
blackmail, all of that stuff was gotten by a certain very intoxicated PI, aka Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones is the PI who dug up all the stuff on all the board members.
Nice.
So I like the connections. I like
good.
the little Easter eggs here and there. I
And
know
even
there's more.
What is Matt Murdock? The lawyer? The lawman?
Lawyer?
She was a law lady.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the connection.
Carrie Ann Moss's character?
Yes. Hogarth.
Yes, Hogarth.
And then also, of course, the night nurse.
Yeah, so tying everything together.
One thing I really do like is that the night nurse, she's actually being treated as if this was the real world. Like when she brings in superheroes to get them fixed up and then uses like hospital funds to do it and then doesn't check them in correctly.
Yep.
They're legitimately like, hey, no, you're going to get punished. You can't just do that.
Right.
So she's not currently, like, she doesn't work. Like, she comes in, she's like, hey, can you help me out with this one? And most people are like, no, you can't just do that. Like, you can't just call someone John Doe and then be like, but I'm totally helping him out. Like, they treat her like a nurse would be treated if they actually were trying to help superheroes
pretty much
in the real world. I like
no special treatment.
Exactly. I like the way that the night nurse isn't like, I run this clinic where I help superheroes. It's more like, I'm trying to help them, but I'm kind of limited by the fact that I keep getting fired from hospitals.
Pretty much. So I really like that part as well.
I thought she was I think she's awesome.
Absolutely.
The whole character they've developed with the night nurse. So
That's been good.
What do you like?
So some of the other things that I liked, I actually did really like the main actor, which I forget his name at the moment.
Finn Jones.
Finn Jones, young Finn.
I believe he was in Game of Thrones.
I believe he was in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. He wasn't in Star
dude,
Wars.
no. I'm like,
Yeah.
He's got curly hair. The other guy didn't have.
He did not have, or maybe micro curls. Who
Micro.
knows? I actually really liked him as Danny Rand. I mean, when he had to be the Iron Fist, it was decent, but I really liked him as Danny Rand. I think as much as they tried to make Danny Rand still a little dark, you know, kind of how they like to make, you know, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, you know, Matt Murdock, they all had, you know, not only troubled past, but troubled presence. He kind of was a little bit more on the positive side than the rest of them. He was always kind of willing to jump right in and help someone.
He's always a little goofier.
A little goofier, which Iron Fist is kind of known for, being that they, as you said, they kind of made him a little bit of a parody of the 70s kung fu craze that ended up happening, you know, as of now in the modern comics. But I did really like that. And he even mentioned that him being a little more on the positive side kind of puts him in the hot seat when he's amongst the rest of the defenders. He said that in an interview, and I can kind of see it coming out a little bit in the show. When the fights were good, they were really good. And as someone who grew up watching all the kung fu movies, Faster Blades, Poisonous Darts, and you know, the man with the iron or with the golden arms, and Wu-Tang versus Shaolin, all of those different kung fu movies, I really appreciated, and one of my best friends studies kung fu right now, and he's pretty high up there. He actually even instructs sometimes. They really stayed, like, they did a really good job with all of the different forms, with all of the different styles, making sure that he was hitting his forms correctly and all that stuff, and even what people call katas. They're not all called katas, but some of the katas and stuff that he was doing.
I'm learning things.
It was all like really good and spot on. So I enjoyed that part, and I did really like, before it got all romancy, I did really like him and Colleen Wing's chemistry. Although it was a little lovey-dovey and all that stuff, for them to kind of have a little tension at first, but knew that their circumstances brought them together and made them have to fight against whoever the present enemy was, which was just Madame Gao before it was the whole hand. Was really, really cool. And even once it got a little romancy, I did like how Colleen Wing, being from a different sect of the hand than Madame Gao was, she was considered like an extreme sect of the hand, and then Colleen Wing's sect was like more actually trying to help people and not so extremist. I did like how that ended up being like, okay, he, you know, they love each other, but now there's a conflict of where they came from, a conflict of interest. So that was really cool. And Again, didn't love how they rounded out everything with the Meachums, but what they left for us to expect in Defenders, with the Hand still being there, and Madame Gao, most importantly, still being a part of it and still kind of being out there and wreaking havoc. That was really cool. Although, and the other thing that was kind of interesting, I will say this is actually a good thing. Madame Gao, I want to say in the first 5 episodes, maybe episode 5 or 6, when she issued the challenge to him, Danny Rand tried to approach her as the Iron Fist with his fist glowing and everything, and she just kind of she just did one of these, and that boy went flying. So if that's how powerful she really is, and she never showed that amount of power again, I'm really interested in seeing what happens when everything comes to a head in the Defenders regarding her. So that should be good. I'm done. I'm spent. That's all I have to say. I didn't even breathe.
That was a lot of information. Good information.
Bam.
Not bad information, but information about the stuff that was bad.
Right.
Which I appreciated. Cool. So obviously, we want you to let us know what you thought about Iron Fist, because we know the reviews slammed it, but a lot of the people's opinions, like the star system on Netflix and IMDb, are not slamming it quite as hard, or they're actually giving it a thumbs up.
Definitely.
So as always, let us know what you thought about Iron Fist if you're done with it. You have a little way. I mean, it's only been out for a weekend.
That's it.
And it is 12, 13?
13.
It's a lot of episodes. So you can get back to us in a little while when you treat it like a normal person instead of just waking up being like, I have 13 hours of Iron Fist to watch. But you should also check out the Iron Fist comics because they are great.
Absolutely.
So for the Capeless Crusaders, my name is David Barry at drbarry on any social media platform. To my left, joining me for this lovely review,
the one, the many. This is Curtis at Calm Down Warning at Existential Romeo.
Good night.